जग रचना तैसे रची, कहो नानक सुन मीत। धन धन श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जीओ। जब जरिए तब होए पसम तन, रह किरम दल खाई। जब जरिए तब होए पसम तन, रह किरम दल खाई। काची गागर नीर परत है, या तन की है बढ़ाई। काहे भैया फिर तो फूलिया फूलिया। जब 10 मास उर्द मुख रहता, सो दिन कैसे भूलिया रहा। ज्यों मधमाखी त्यों सठोर रस, जोर जोर धन किया। मरती बार लेहो लेहो करिए, भूत रहन क्यों दिया। देहरी लो बरी नार संग भई, आगे सजन सुहेला। मार कट लो सब लोग कुटुंब भयो, आगे हंस अकेला। कहत कबीर सुनो रे प्राणी, परे काल ग्रस कुआ। झूठी माया आप बंधाया, ज्यों नलनी भ्रम सुआ। कहत कबीर सुनो रे प्राणी, परे काल ग्रस कुआ। झूठी माया आप बंधाया, ज्यों नलनी भ्रम सुआ। सतगुਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਜੀ ਨਵਾਜੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ, ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਖਸ਼ੀ ਹੋਈ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਣੀ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਪਾਰ ਰਹਿਮਤ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿਮੰਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੋਂ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਅੰਗ 654 ਤੇ ਸੁਭਾਇਮਾਨ ਹੈ। ਭਗਤ ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਉਚਾਰਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਤੇ ਪਾਵਨ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ। ਕਬੀਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਹਿਸਾਸ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਜੋ ਸਰੀਰ 5 ਤੱਤਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਖਾਸ ਵਡਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ। ਭਾਵ ਇਹਦੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਮੌਤ ਡੋਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਕਦੋਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਆ ਜਾਏ। ਸੰਬਤ ਸਾਹਾ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਮਿਲਕਰ ਪਾਵੋ ਤੇਲ, ਦੇਹੋ ਸਜਨ ਅਸੀਸਣੀਆਂ, ਜਿਉ ਹੋਵੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਿਉ ਮੇਲ। ਇਨਸਾਨ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਖਚਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੌਤ ਨੂੰ ਭੁਲਾ ਬੈਠਦਾ ਹੈ, ਭਾਵ ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਭੁਲਾ ਬੈਠਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੌਤ ਚੇਤੇ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਭਾਵਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਰੱਬ ਵੀ ਚੇਤੇ ਰਹੇਗਾ। ਸੋ ਭਗਤ ਕਬੀਰ ਜੀ ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਝੂਠੀ ਮਾਇਆ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਤਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਸਵਾਸਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਂ, ਸਵਾਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੂੰਜੀ ਮੁੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਪਰ ਇਹ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਰ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣੀ, ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਿਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੁੜੀ। ਤੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਸਾਚੀ ਲਿਵੈ ਬਿਨ ਦੇਹ ਨਿਮਾਣੀ ਲਿਵ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਕਿਆ ਕਰੇ ਵਿਚਾਰੀਆ। ਐਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਸਮਾਂ ਆਪ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮੇ ਦੀ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਰਵਣ ਕਰਨੀ ਜੀ, ਉਪਰੰਤ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਰਹਿਮਤ ਕਰਨ। So today's Hukamnama is blessing from Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib. It is placed in Dhan Dhan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj on Ang 654. Dhan Dhan Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj has honored the sermons and composition of Dhan Dhan Bhagat Kabir Ji and placed them in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj under the heading of Rag Sorat. So Guru Maharaj is indicating that when we sing the Hukamnama in Rag Sorat, it helps us to create the right mood and focus to understand the essence of the Hukamnama. So in today's Hukamnama, Kabir Sahib reveals and reminds us that this body is perishable. Sooner or later, today or tomorrow, body is going to perish. This is not something awkward or very strange. This is divine law. आमन जान एक खेल बनाया, आज्ञाकारी कीनी माया. When God created the creation, He also made the divine rule, divine principle, that anything which is created decays with time and then perishes, because God loves freshness. The soul which is in the body assumes another physical body around it after it dies, after the body dies. So this is a cycle of life. There are different bodies around us, bodies of animals. God has created different living beings, but the soul is same. And beauty is, the interesting thing is, God is present within the soul. So when you look at the animals, birds, plants, water, there is every place which has presence of God. There is nothing without presence of God. Nothing can exist. We look at the sun. Sun is able to give the energy and light because of presence of God in the sun. The earth is able to function because of God's power, which we cannot see. So in other words, God is present everywhere. Soul is eternal. God's presence is eternal. But the bodies God creates are perishable because God wants everything fresh. Sahib mera neet nawa sada sada datar. This is God's game. Jab udkarak kara kartara, when God created the creation, from one God became many. And when God decides to wrap up the creation and the creation, God will be on His own. Eka roop anup srupa, rank payo rav kahin pupa, andaj jeraj setaj kini, utbuj khan baho rajlini. So it is very clear. We are able to function, perceive things, and it's a great opportunity to realize the truth The truth is, God is the owner of this body. Because of our ego, we think this is our body. This is my body. This is my house. So we have very possessive and pride nature. Again, we need to remember all these passions are given by God, created by God, just to keep this drama carry on. Because if everyone became egoless, then there won't be any further creation. It's because of the ego the death and birth cycle continues. And ego is again given by and created by God. And it is a test for us to efface our ego, get rid of our ego, and become one with God and attain the eternity. And that is what Kabir Sahib is reminding us in today's Hukamnama. Look, you are so proud of your body. You are so proud of your wealth. But remember, the day will come when this body is going to perish. It will stop functioning. Jab jariye tab hoye pasamtan. So what will be done to the body? Kabir Sahib reveals. Some bodies, according to the faith, different religions, some bodies are cremated. The bodies are burned. Then Kabir Sahib reveals this body becomes ashes. So jab jariye means jaliya, to be burnt. Pasam means ashes. Tan means body. Rahe kiram dal khai. Raha means if that body is kept in a coffin and buried, that body is consumed by insects and worms. Kiram means worms and insects. Dal means the army. So army of worms and insects attacks the body and consumes it over the time. So in other words, this body is made up of 5 elements. The clay, which is our skin and bones, the water, that is the liquid in our body, like blood. Then there is fire, which is our body temperature. So all these elements are essential. Then fourth element is air, the air we breathe. Without the air, we can't sustain. The fifth element is called soul. It's also referred to as Akash or sky. It simply means presence of God. So all these 5 elements come together to form a body. And when body stops functioning as per God's will, then all these 5 elements, they separate out. Air mixes with air, water mixes with water, and the clay mixes with the clay. So Kabir Sahib is reminding, this body you are proud of is going to be consumed. It's made up of 5 elements. You think you're very clever. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Maharaj reveals that this body is so delicate, like a bubble on the surface of the water. जैसे जलते बुध बुदा उपजै बिन सै नीत जग रचना तैसे रची कहो नानक सुन मीत. Oh my friends, listen. You think you're going to live forever, but remember, your life is like a little bubble on the surface of the water. That bubble can pop up anytime. It is formed on the water, it pops up. Again, there are so many bubbles formed on the top of the water, they just perish. Kabir Sahib describes this body as the unbaked pitcher or pot. In the olden times, people didn't have the steel pots or steel utensils. They used to use the clay utensils. This body is like unbaked clay pot. And if you put water in the unbaked pot, it will just crumble. So Kabir Sahib is describing how fragile this body is. Kachi gagar. Kachi means unbaked. Gagar means the pot of clay. Neer. Neer means water. Perth means to put. When you put the water in this body, which is like unbaked pot, it will just crumble. Water will leak out. Iya tan ki eh badai, and this is the value of this body. Kahe paiya firto fulya fulya. Oh my brother, why you are going around in pride, so puffed up and so big-headed? Bring yourself down on the earth. Remain humble. जब 10 मास उर्दमुख रहता, 100 दिन कैसे भूलिया रहा. Have you forgotten the time you spent in mother's womb? 10 months you were head down, feet up. You are doing some sort of yoga. But this is just Satsangaji, a joke. But this is a natural process. The head down, feet up keeps the baby alive. This is divine law. Baby is fed through the spinal cord, which attaches to the belly button. This is just amazing. The whole process is so amazing. Kabir Sahib is saying, God preserved you and fashioned you with his own hands, made the provision for you to get fed through that umbilical cord. Umbilical cord attaches to the belly button and feeds the baby. How amazing. This is the creativity of God. Have you forgotten those days when you were praying to God? In mother's womb, you were absolutely tormented by the karmas you had done in the previous life. And you were praying to God for protection. And God preserved you. Have you forgotten those days? So if God preserved you in mother's womb, by God's will you exist right now in human form, why you forget God? You need to be grateful to God. So that's the key message. This body is created by God so that we can serve God and God's creation. As long as we do that, this body is so precious. Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj reveals this body is precious like gold. Kanchan kaya kot gad vich har har siddha. Gurmukh ਢੂੰਡ ਢੁੰਡੇਂਦਿਆਂ ਹਰ ਸੱਜਣ ਲੱਦਾ ਰਾਮ ਰਾਜੇ. ਕੰਚਨ ਕਾਇਆ ਕੋਟ ਗੜ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਰ ਹਰ ਸਿੱਧਾ. ਹਰ ਹਰ ਹੀਰਾ ਰਤਨ ਹੈ ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਤਨ ਵਿਦਾ. ਤੁਰ ਭਾਗ ਵੱਡੇ ਹਰ ਪਾਇਆ ਨਾਨਕ ਰਸ ਗੁੱਦਾ. This is amazing. With Guru's wisdom, I searched my body. Rather than thinking about the world, thinking about other people, thinking about my job, I focused on myself, where I have come from, who has created this body. And I came to the conclusion with Guru's wisdom that God has created this body and God abides in the body, and I am unnecessarily taking pride in everything I have, in fact, this is all God's. And this body since then has become precious like gold. Kanchan Kaya Kotgad, which Har Har Siddha, and I have found the creator of this body within my body. That's why it is so precious. But Guru Maharaj reveals those who have failed to realize God in their lifespan, they are very unfortunate. They have failed to enjoy the Har Ras, the divine nectar within their body. They are very unfortunate. जिन हर 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 रस नाम ना पाया ते भागहीन जम पास. Paghi means unfortunate. So Satsangadi, a lot of people who say, my life is absolutely a mess. Despite having all the wealth, all the comforts of life, the mind is so much in anxiety. That's how people develop mental health problem. Even the superstars, all the celebrities who are loaded with money and fame, they seem to suffer from the mental health issues. The reason being, they are detached from the Creator. Those who attach themselves to the Creator realize this is all God given. They exercise gratitude in their life, always remain in presence of God, treat other people with respect and honor, and they are trustworthy, obedient, then God accepts them. There is no room for mental health issues where God is. God, तिथे तू समर्थ जिथे कोय नाए, ओथे तेरी रख अग्नि उदरमाए. God, where you are remembered, there is no room for any illnesses, any anxiety, any worries. Even in mother's womb, you protect. Where there is no one else who can save the baby. Even parents, they can't have access to the baby. The doctors, they do not have access to the baby in mother's womb. God, you are the best physician. You are the best support in mother's womb. Satsangaji, this amazes me. Gives me so much confidence and faith in Vaheguru, our Creator. That's what Kabir Sahib is trying to remind us. ज्यों मद माखी त्यों सठोर रस, जोर जोर धन किया. Guru Bhagat Kabir ji is giving an example of a honey bee. Mad means madhu, the honey. Makhi means a bee, a fly. Sathor ras, thor means to gather. Ras means honey. You know, this is again a miracle. This is creativity of God. Honey bee goes from one plant to the other and collects honey. We can't see the sweetness in the flowers and plants, but honey bee can see it. So it sits on the flower or the plant, extracts the sweetness and collects it in the web. Amazing. Creativity of God is amazing. God created the sweetness, God created the honey bee, and God gave the intelligence to the honey bee to create a beautiful web. Have you seen the honey web? It's amazing. It's all the hexagonal shape, and it's loads and loads of like holes in that web where honeybees come along and collect the honey. Kabir Sahib is saying exactly in the same manner, human beings collect wealth little by little with expectation that they will become billionaires one day. It is for the old age, retirement, cremation, burial, so on. People love to store. But Kabir Sahib is reminding, मरती बार लेहो लेहो करिए, भूत रहन क्यों दिया? A man builds the mansion, lives in that mansion very comfortably. Beautiful beds, beautiful furniture, walls are nicely painted. There's so many servants around. But when the call of death comes from God, the time is up. No one lets that body remain in the house for longer than 1 day or 2 days, maybe a week, if there is a cold chamber in the house. Because body has to be kept cold, otherwise it decays and stinks. So the house that man used to own, no one wants that body to stay in the house anymore. Everyone says, take it away, otherwise ghost will enter the house. Poot rehan kyo diya? Poot means ghost. Dehri lo bari nar sang pai, aage sajan suhela. And now Kabir Sahib is saying, now it is a time for body to be disposed of, either through cremation or burial or whatever way. All the family members, including the wife, or if wife has died, the partner, the husband, accompanies the body to the courtyard of the body. This was the custom at the time. Women and the man, they were not allowed to go to the cremation ground, the burial ground. They will just accompany the body to the front gate of the house. And rest of the family members, they will take the body to the cremation ground and dispose it off. But Kabir Sahib is saying, the soul has already left. This is just the dead body left behind, is of no use. If you don't do anything with it, it will just stink and decay. It is a natural process to dispose of the body. Remember, the key thing is the soul, the presence of God has left this body. That's why this body is decaying now. Now, this soul, where it has presence of God, it also has the thoughts of this life and previous lives. They are accumulating within the body, within the soul. Now, soul has to, within the soul, has to give the account to the supreme soul, the Paramatma. So Atma has to give the answer to the Paramatma, the supreme soul. That is called judgment. The judgment time has come. कहत कबीर सुनो रे प्राणी, परे काल ग्रस कुआ. Now because that soul was not able to supreme soul because of the wall of ego in the middle, wall of attachment, greed, anger, and ego. That soul remains separated from the supreme soul. Now it has to assume another physical body and remain in the cycle of death and birth. But Kabir Sahib is saying, if that soul had become one with the supreme soul, then there will be no life anymore. There won't be any birth anymore. There won't be any suffering anymore. That soul merges with the supreme soul and remains in bliss all the time. Janam maran duhu mein nahi, jan parupakari aaye. Ji dam de bhakti layan, harsyo layan milaye. God sends spiritual people where the soul has become one with the supreme soul. Atma has become one with the Paramatma into the human body like our gurus to liberate other people, enlighten other people. So because of the false Maya, the fake Maya, people tie themselves down and forget God. This is very unfortunate. Kabir Sahib has given example of a parrot. The way parrot is trapped is there's a cage and door of the cage is left open. Inside there is a cord tied down to a pipe which is called nalni. Parrot comes in the cage to peck on the food which is attached as a bait. That pipe bends on the side where parrot is sitting because of parrot's weight, and parrot thinks that I'm going to fall, doesn't understand that I can fly away. Because of the greed of that food, parrot stays there, and because of the fear of falling, parrot gets hold on to that pipe, and door of the cage is closed by the hunter, and hence get caught. Similarly, human beings, under the financial fear, under the pride that I want to get richer than my brother, they keep clinging on to the material and hence get caught. So Kabir Sahib is saying this is unfortunate. So it's a wake-up call. Jhoothi maya aap bandaya, jio nalni pramsua. This materialistic possessions are false, they are temporary. Wake up and remain faithful and obedient to God. That's the key message. So Satsang, the rest of the time will cover the translation in Punjabi. Time has flown away so quick. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ। ਕਬੀਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮੇ 'ਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗਿਆਨ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇਹ ਦੇਹ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਮਲ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਆ। ਚੰਗੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਨਾਂ ਰੱਖੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਜਾਤ ਬੜੀ ਉੱਚੀ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰਾ ਕੁਲ ਬੜਾ ਉੱਚਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਧਾਰੇ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਆਤਮਾ ਨੇ। ਆਤਮਾ ਤੇ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਛੁਟਕਾਰਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਲ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ? ਕਿਵ ਸਚਿਆਰਾ ਹੋਈ ਵੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਵ ਸਚਿਆਰਾ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੂੜਾ ਟੁੱਟਾ ਪਾਲ। ਉਹ ਪਾਲ ਹੈ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਧ ਹੈ ਕੂੜ ਦੀ, ਤੇ ਕੂੜ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਹੰਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇ ਬੰਧਨ, ਮੋਹ। ਇਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਟੁੱਟੇ? ਕਬੀਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ ਬਿਤਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਭਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਦੂਜਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਤਮ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਬੜਾ ਅਫਸੋਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਫਸੋਸ ਹੋਇਆ ਵੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਚੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰ ਗਿਆ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰ ਜਾਣਾ। ਸਾਧੋ ਰਚਨਾ ਰਾਮ ਬਣਾਈ, ਇੱਕ ਬਿਨਸੈ ਇੱਕ ਅਸਥਿਰ ਮਨ ਹੈ, ਅਚਰਜ ਲਖਿਓ ਨਾ ਜਾਈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਚਰਜ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਾਲਕ ਨੇ ਆਉਣ ਜਾਣ ਦੀ ਖੇਡ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੈ, ਆਵਨ ਜਾਣੇ ਖੇਡ ਬਣਾਇਆ, ਆਗਿਆਕਾਰੀ ਕੀਨੀ ਮਾਇਆ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਭਰਮਾਂ 'ਚ ਪਏ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਦੂਜੇ ਦੇ ਅੰਤਮ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬੜਾ ਅਫਸੋਸ ਹੋਇਆ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਨੰਬਰ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਉਹ ਸਮਾਂ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ। ਇਨਸਾਨ ਇੰਨਾ ਧਨ ਜੋੜਦਾ, ਇੰਨਾ ਯਤਨ ਕਰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਭੁਲਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੁਖਾਂਤ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਕਬੀਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਾਂਦੇ, ਭਾਈ ਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਤੇ ਕਰ, ਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਾ ਲੈ। ਐਵੇਂ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇ ਭਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਬੰਧਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਨੂੰ, ਇੰਨਾ ਵਡਮੁੱਲਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਜੂਏ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਰ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਈਂ, ਸਫਲ ਕਰ ਲੈ। ਸੋ ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਬੇਨਤੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ, ਭੁੱਲਾਂ ਨਾ ਚਤਾਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਣੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। कहत कबीर सुनो रे प्राणी, परे काल ग्रस कुआ, झूठी माया आप बंधाया, ज्यों नलनी भ्रम सुआ। झूठी माया आप बंधाया, ज्यों नलनी भ्रम सुआ। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।